Hello, this is Marvin Glotfelty. I'm a hydrogeologist and well driller from Arizona, here to give you another industry-connected video from the National Groundwater Association. And I want to talk to you now about some lost gems of our industry. There are things that I had heard about from old timers when I was younger. We don't see them applied much today, but they're still good tricks of the trade, and we can think about these things. We can apply these things. There's lots of them, and a few of them came through my mind just the other day. So I'll mention just a couple, but there's many others out there. So here's the thing I've always found to be true in my personal experience is talking to old cowboys, old Indians, and old drillers is beneficial and entertaining. So do that. They got old stories to tell. At the very minimum, you're going to be entertained and you're probably going to learn some important stuff. It may not be anything you need, but once you bump into it, maybe years in the future, might be handy for you. So here's a couple of examples. There's a thing that they used to use in the old days when they were fishing. This is before downhole well videos were common, and it was called an impression block. And what drillers used to do is they would take a little frame, maybe with some nails hammered into it, and pour melted parawax into there, fill this box with wax, and then connect it to their drill pipe and lower it down the borehole and press it against the lost fish, the lost item down the hole. And it would come back up with the shape of what was down there. So they would know, is it leaning to the left? Is it leaning to the right? Is it pointed? Is it round? What's this thing like down there in shape? Well, what if we have a mud-filled hole? We can't do a video. What if we have a lot of fancy geophysical logging tools that maybe we can do that. What if they're not available? What if we can't afford them? This is something you can make on site, you can do. You talk to old timers, you find out the detail of how this can be done. This might be done regularly, but I just don't know about it. So it's easy, it can be done, it's a good trick of the trade. Another one, also with fishing, is if you have a dropped little piece of casing and a dropped bail, you can use the old burlap sack and sand technique. Now, this is a lesson in physics. So I give this in my presentations because it's a lesson in sand locking, how powerful that is. And so what this entails is if you have a dropped bail, say, and you can lower a drill pipe inside it, but you don't have a spear on hand or a grapple of some sort to grab it and to fish it back out of the well, you can go in with your drill pipe. And if it's external upset, so you have a tool joint, and you can take some burlap or other strong cloth and wrap around it, maybe wire it on there with a baling wire or something, lower it in place, and then pour a 5-gallon bucket or two of sand down the well. That sounds like, okay, that's crazy. What are you doing here? But the sand falls into the burlap sack, which with the burlap sack, when it goes into the bale, it flops upward and it forms a little pocket that catches that sand. And that sand then locks on the outside against the bale, on the inside against the drill pipe. The physics of that are, as you pull up the drill pipe harder and harder, the sand is forced outward more and more, and it digs into both of those steel surfaces. So there's a huge force. And I've seen this done. And I saw a guy lift up tens of thousands of pounds casing that had dropped. And it was an intermediate casing. And so the fishing technique does work. It can be done a number of different ways. And there again, you talk to old timers, you can find out the details of what works, what doesn't work, and so on. With particular equipment, there's going to be different techniques. But it's very cool that these little gems, these little tricks of the old timers, they're not old, obsolete, worthless things. They're tricks that we add to our newfangled technology that we have. So we don't discount available fishing tools and things like that. But sometimes when these conditions are right and the need is there, we have these other tricks of the trade that we can now begin to apply. That's why our industry is not a production line. It's a trade with true, knowledge and continuing education that needs to happen. And part of that is talking to old timers. So at a minimum, you're going to be entertained, and you may even gain some of these lost gems. So with that, be safe and talk to old timers. They're real entertaining, and they'll have some good stories for you. Talk to you next time.